Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Game Plan. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at VerifiedInvesting.com. Lots to go over today. We just got the PCE data that just came out about 30 minutes ago. We saw the inflation numbers, which is what PCE is, coming in right in line with expectations. Initially, markets got a small little bid, but honestly not much. And I do worry that the worry of tariffs over the weekend or new announcements of tariffs could make the markets continue their sell-off today. All right, let's go over to the big board and take a look at where we stand. We are slightly higher on the S&P right now, although the NASDAQ is struggling, and that's really where the negativity is, right? So we're seeing the S&P. Yesterday, we closed right here. Okay, on the SPY, we're trading ever so slightly higher. You can see right here, there was a little blip. That's all we got on the PCE data as the markets kind of breathed a sigh of relief when we got PCE. All right, and we'll write this out, PCE, right? This is month over month. It came in at 0.3%. And then the year over year numbers, okay, we got 2.5% inflation. And again, this is the favored gauge of inflation for the Federal Reserve. And so ultimately, this is what generally they're going to look to. And so it wasn't horrendous. It wasn't amazing either, but it wasn't a catastrophe. And again, I think that's why you're seeing this happening right here. But I will say this, if we look at the Nvidia chart, if we look at the Palantir chart, SMCI, I'm going to go over these charts in just a little bit. We are seeing them continuing to fall pretty precipitously this morning. And again, that's telling me there's de-risking in tech. Money is running for cover, maybe even running into some oil names or some other names for protection. All right, let's go over the charts because there was a big factor on the S&P 500 yesterday, and it was this. So how long have we followed this trend lines, right? This general parallelish type pattern. Low pivots to low pivots, high pivots to high pivots. Look at what happened yesterday, folks. We did see a break below that level. Now, again, it hasn't confirmed. So again, it's an unconfirmed breakdown. But this trend line, this bottom one here, this goes all the way back to October of 2023. So it's not like it's just a short-term, a few-month trend line. This is a trend line that has kept the trend on the S&P for literally well over a year, in fact, about a year and a half. And that, to me, if we confirm, sends another signal that the market is done with the bull side and moving more into a bearish side of the market. And again, by the way, I don't want you guys to think that because it's going into a bear doesn't mean that there's long opportunities. There's plenty of long opportunities. In fact, I'm going to be showing you some charts in just a couple minutes that are actually look to me to be great swing trading opportunities on those stocks that I just mentioned before, all right? So let's just take a quick look back to the computer here. We'll take a look at the QQQ. Now, we know the Qs broke here. We did confirm the possibility, and I went over this in Trading the Close, we might get a bounce back up. It's looking less and less likely. We're basically flat on the QQQ this morning, but I'll tell you, if we don't see a bounce in Nvidia this morning, we could be looking at just a straight out continuation fall. And just taking a look at the dramatic impact of this drop, if you take the high right here to yesterday's close, 7.5% in basically 1 week in terms of the NASDAQ 100's fall. That is an epic fall, folks. Again, you get into 10% range and you're talking, major correction in the markets. All right, looking at Nvidia here, folks, I want to move into this trend line here. This is the trend line I'm keeping a very close eye on. I want to actually bring this back. I was looking at this morning and I'm like, man, this trend line goes back even further than I first thought. Take a look at that. So, in fact, we'll get rid of this, and I want to go over to the big board. So, if we go to the big board, we can see that this trend line starts back in March, or actually February of 2024 right here. Connects through the low in April, connects through this low in right around August. This is the August swoon, that big drop we saw in August where Nvidia hit $90. It then climbed all the way back up, short-term, slightly higher highs. And again, notice how the highs on Nvidia here all line up as well. This is the beauty of learning how to do trend lines. It really does tell you where support and resistance are. Going back to the lows, we dipped down here. It briefly got below, closed back above. And yesterday, look at what happened. We closed right on that line. Now today, where are we trading? At 117.74. That's after closing at 120. So we're already down about $2.50 on Nvidia this morning, even though the NASDAQ 100 is not negative by much, if at all, at this point. But Nvidia, Palantir's getting crushed again. That thing's down like $4 or $5 pre-market. But again, I do have a very important chart to look at on that. Now, before we move away from this chart on Nvidia, where is the target if we break here? Well, a couple things. Today for day trading, this low right down here, I think it's around 115. That to me will be something that I might day trade. Would I swing trade that long? No way. All right, if this is really breaking, this could be a much bigger move to the downside. Now, in terms of the next levels, I'll start to pay attention right in here. This level right here, if we drag that across, somewhere in this August low, the $90 range, that should be a major technical support. Now, again, that's still a long way lower, but in terms of markets, we know that they go up further than anyone thinks, and when things correct, they usually go down a lot further than anyone thinks as well. So I always like to err on the side of caution generally when I'm playing key levels. All right, let's go into a couple of these other charts here. Tesla's obviously on everyone's lips these days. It is getting close to this level. I've talked about this level all week long. This is when we were all the way up here, folks. I was like, guys, I think this is going to go down all the way to this 270 to 265 level. Well, guess what? 5-6 days later, here we are coming into that level, trading right now at 281. But if this flushes down to 270 today into the 265, major flat horizontal trend line and upsloping trend line merging right there. That to me would be an intriguing potential swing trade opportunity. SMCI, what a run it had, and now what a fall it's having. Now below $40 pre-market. Notice this downsloping trend line. This was an inverse head and shoulders. So this was a breakout of that. It ran to approximately target. Now it's correcting to the scene of the crime. The scene of the crime is that former breakout level, which was resistance, but once it broke out, it then becomes support. So this should be technical support here, looking around 37.50, 37.60. If it gets down in that range, there should be some major support there. Looking at Palantir, guys, Palantir's trading at $81. This is a really interesting chart, right? So it looks to me like we're right into this trend line here. This one should be moved down. Notice how this goes through the midpoint of this bar. It should go through the low. So these are things you have to do as a trader. You have to really make sure when you get into these levels, you want to know that your line is as accurate as possible. So right to the low, and that gives us a pivot point here of around 79.50. So that's a very interesting level on Palantir for a swing trade. And just to show you guys the dramatic de-risking that's going on, if we get there, that's a 37% correction on Palantir in basically, again, 1.5 weeks. I mean, incredible erasing of market cap, if we talk about that. Even for Nvidia, the amount of market cap on a $3 trillion stock when it drops from 135 to 115 is incredible. Just absolutely annihilating the markets. All right. So again, we'll watch this level, 79.50-ish on Palantir, and we'll keep an eye on that. Now I'm going to flip over to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is important, and we got to keep an eye on this. So if you followed along with me on Bitcoin, you've really been fine, and I've been guiding you every step of the way in these game plans. We talked about how price potentially was at a top up here. We said, okay, there's support. If it breaks support, where's it going to go? Most likely to about 75,000, 74,000. Well, in the overnight, we got down to about 77,000. So we got close. We're real close. It is getting a technical bounce here. I did pick up with crypto members, Smart Money Crypto. Last night, I happened to wake up, and again, for some reason, I have this like mental alarm where when things are going on in the market, I just naturally wake up and take a look. So I woke up, I'm like, oh man, Solana's down. I'm going to add to this position. We're going to pick up this. I didn't pick up any Bitcoin. I did add some Ethereum though. But nonetheless, I'm going to wait for 75 or less on Bitcoin to start nibbling. But nonetheless, a lot of the other coins are into some key supports here. Either way, Bitcoin catching a little bit of a bid here. We'll watch to see. Don't be surprised. I feel like everyone was looking for this line. If you go almost on, any show, they're all talking about it. You go on any of these media-driven places, people were talking about this. So how does this play, all right? So oftentimes what will happen is they'll say, okay, well, everyone's expecting it to go here, so it comes here, then it bounces, then when it flushes through there, and then gets the bounce, kind of like faking everyone out. And again, just things that I've learned over 20-plus years, 26 years now of trading is that you have to be aware of when everyone is looking at something. And no better example of that than the gold move, which got close to 3,000, but everyone was looking for 3,000. So what does it do? It starts to correct before 3,000, which again is very, very common. I've grown to expect that when everyone one else is talking about the same level. You always want to follow things when no one else is following it. That's a good level. When everyone is talking about it, it usually will fail or has a higher propensity to not hit that level. Speaking of gold, here it is, guys. All right, so we'll go back to the big board for our gold chart here. And as we go back, we have to just look and say, okay, beautiful correction here. All right, starting to come in. It's again, a lot of people saying, well, why are we seeing this when gold's a safe haven? Because gold was up significantly, right? So people are saying they're looking at their portfolios, which are going down from stocks, from crypto and all this, and they're saying, man, where can I sell to either cover a margin call, or what's making me nervous because I'm up so significantly and I don't want to give back those gains? Oh, look, gold's made a big run. Let me exit some of that, and it's causing it to correct. But same kind of thought process. Here's your 3,000 level. Look at how we came right up here, and then we dropped. And what's interesting, we had that one doji that I talked about. It actually got negated, but still, we saw kind of a fake out and then a drop. And I did with commodity members. We still have gold short from up there, as well as we were short GDX. We still are short GDX. I had a Newmont mining short as well, which we already took profits on. But again, deep in the money now on those, and that's nice. I might be getting out of that GDX short today with members of Smart Money Commodities, because again, this is getting to be a beautiful fall, and GDX has fallen even more. It's actually coming into support, or in the 38 to 39 range. All right, so again, gold not quite getting to 3,000. The thought process here is this, right? How are we going to play this out? If I'm going to look at this chart, I'm going to say, okay, so gold, again, too many people were looking for this, so it corrects before, comes here. Then when it goes up, it's going to come to 3,000. Everyone will be like, okay, here's 3,000, and it'll blow right through and probably go to like 3,050 or 3,100 before it really stalls out and consolidates then above 3,000 for its next bull move to the upside. And by the way, just going back to Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin, again, if it corrects enough, is a great buying opportunity, and I continue to love Bitcoin long term. It's just when the charts are telling me that it's going down, I'm not going to be like, oh, yay, let's buy up 100,000. I'm no Michael Saylor, right? I'm not buying at 100,000 or 105,000 here. Instead, I'll wait for the corrections and then leg in there at key technical levels. And that's the difference maker, is it's all about technicals for me, which is data driven. Okay, let's go on to a couple other things here. Let's quickly look at U.S. oil and see what we have on this one. Oil, again, not doing much here. A lot of sideways chop. Yesterday had an upside move, downside today a little bit. Support remains at 66. Resistance is right up here at around $80. Again, ultimately, I would have a negative bias on this based on the economic data that's showing that things are slowing. Natural gas today is inching down just a little bit. Nothing major here. I do expect it to continue to trade back towards this level down in this range off of this major resistance. And I do have, with my commodity members, a short signal on that as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now I'm just going to flip back to the S&P. S&P right now, let's go to the intraday. You can see it's creeping back down, and that probably bodes somewhat negatively here for Nvidia. Nvidia, you can see right here, is trading at 117.42, so it's starting to come in. Watch this low pivot down here on Nvidia. Again, this low here, I think I said 115. It's actually 113, right around 113. That's going to be that low pivot there. All right, so listen. It's been a wild week. We've seen Nvidia earnings. We've seen big economic data. We've seen tariff threats, which seem to be coming at us left and right almost every single day. Markets are in decline and are fearing and panicking a little bit. This is where opportunity starts to come up. And I want to be clear. I still think overall the markets are due for not only a 10% correction, but probably a 20+% correction. But a correction generally doesn't go straight down. You get bounces along the way, and that's what I'm here to do. That's what I do, is I play these key technical levels, understanding the psychology as well as the technicals to both give me longs for a couple days or a week or two, as well as shorting into those rips. Again, it used to be a buy the dip. I'm a firm believer. It's now a sell the rip market. All right, guys, that's all for this Friday. Be ready. Come find us here at Verified Investing, where it's data-driven and analysis-driven. No emotion, no nonsense, not like everyone else out there. Let's keep it real. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Take care.